All right, let's talk about what's happening in tech right now, because it's not just another update. We're at a point where AI has actually started to write itself, to build its own future. And what's behind this? Well, it's a story of raw power and just a mind-boggling amount of money.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This isn't some far-off prediction. This is happening right now. The guy who created Claude Code is saying that for a whole month, 100% of his own contributions were written by his AI. Not him, the AI. That's a massive leap forward. We've definitely crossed some kind of line here.
So, something this big doesn't just pop up out of nowhere, right? To really get what's going on, we have to look behind the curtain. We need to understand the foundation that had to be built to make this kind of autonomous AI even possible.
And the answer really is a revolution that's being built on an absolutely massive foundation. You see, we're in the middle of this huge global race to construct the engine for AI. It's a build-out of physical stuff, hardware, data centers, and a flood of money on a scale that is just completely unprecedented.
So let's start with the physical side of things. At its heart, this whole AI explosion is a story of brute force. It all comes down to three things: land for these enormous data centers, power, just insane amounts of electricity to run them, and silicon, those specialized chips that are basically the brains of the whole operation. 450,000. Just to give you a sense of the scale here, look at a company like xAI. They already have 450,000 GPUs up and running. These are the specialized chips that are the real workhorses of AI. We're talking nearly 500,000 of the most advanced processors on the planet, all training models at the exact same time. And the crazy part? This is just the beginning for them.
And you can really see the ambition here. Most of the big players, the hyperscalers who run the cloud, they're all racing to build a 1 gigawatt data center. That's a huge goal. But xAI, they're aiming for 2 gigawatts of training compute. That's double the raw processing power. And to get there, they're not just plugging into the grid. Oh no, they're actually building their own power plants. Now, this whole race for power isn't just about building bigger data centers. You also have to control the supply chain for the chips themselves. Right now, making enough AI chips is a huge bottleneck for the entire industry. And that's exactly why you see moves like NVIDIA investing $5 billion straight into Intel. It's a strategic play. The goal is to beef up chip manufacturing here in the US and lock down the supply of the silicon that fuels this whole revolution.
Okay, so it goes without saying, right? Building all this physical hardware, it costs an absolutely staggering amount of money. And that brings us to the second pillar of this whole revolution, the financial fuel. We're talking about huge strategic investments that are making all of this construction possible in the first place.
$40 billion. Just think about that number. That's how much SoftBank just poured into OpenAI, grabbing about an 11% stake in the company. Look, this isn't your typical VC investment. This is the kind of money a country would spend on a major national project. It's on a totally different level.
And that cash isn't just sitting in a bank account. It's being put to work immediately to create the next wave of technology. At OpenAI, that money is funding things like new audio models that sound incredibly human, new ways to interact with AI just by talking to it, and even, down the road, their very own custom hardware built specifically for AI from the ground up.
And you've got to understand, this isn't just one company making one big deal. The entire financial world is shifting to get in on this. You've got SoftBank buying up companies just to handle data center investments. You've got massive asset managers like Brookfield starting up brand new funds just for AI infrastructure, with caps of, get this, $100 billion. It's like the old saying, in a gold rush, sell picks and shovels. Well, right now, all the smart money is pouring into the picks and shovels of AI.
So, okay, we've seen the physical build-out and the financial fuel. That's the foundation. Now let's talk about the payoff. Because all of this incredible infrastructure, this is exactly what makes that autonomous coding we talked about at the start possible. And it's causing a seismic shift in how software gets made.
One of the most interesting parts of this whole story is how the creators themselves are reacting. The people building this stuff, they're not just excited. They seem genuinely shocked by the speed of it all. It feels like the pace of change is moving faster than even they expected.
Think about this. Just last year, there was this prediction that 90% of code would be written by AI, and pretty much everyone laughed at it, right? It seemed way too optimistic. Well, as one researcher, Ethan Mollick, pointed out, that prediction wasn't wrong. It was just off by a couple of months. That's how fast this is happening.
And maybe the best description of this moment comes from Andrej Karpathy, who's a huge name in AI. He says what's happening right now isn't just some small change. It's not an evolution.
He calls it a magnitude 9 earthquake that's rocking the entire profession. And that's exactly what it feels like, a massive, fundamental shakeup.
So what does an earthquake like that actually mean for the people on the ground? It means the job of a programmer is fundamentally changing. It's not about typing out every single line of code anymore. It's about mastering this new layer of abstraction, learning how to manage, prompt, and direct these incredibly powerful AI agents. That's how you get to a point where an AI writes 100% of your code. You're not the bricklayer anymore. You're the architect, the conductor of this orchestra of intelligence.
And that really brings us to the bottom line here. As Andrej Karpathy says, it's time to roll up your sleeves. Because this isn't some theory about the future. It's the new reality, right now. The foundation, all that raw power, all that capital, all that silicon, it's already been built. The revolution in coding is here, and the only thing left to do is adapt.